Hey, my name is latva-piikkilä and welcome to the Trail Hunterz YouTube channel. Me and Victor came to visit here in Åre and then we took the opportunity to have a little interview with the local legend, Reine Barkered, who's a free skier, big mountain skier. What else are you?
Yeah, that's pretty much it, I guess. A little bit of biking and just generally outdoors. Man.
Excellent.
Boy. Yeah.
We're here in Åre now. It's a really beautiful place. And have you been born and raised here, or?
Yeah, I was born here, or more precisely in Duved, but it's part of the same valley. And so grew up skiing and doing everything else around here. Didn't really know that it was a special place until I got a little bit older and realized that it's not like this in the whole country, I guess.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to have that opportunity to grow up here.
So what did you do here when you were a kid? Was it only skiing on the mountain, or?
When I was a kid, yeah, it was more or less just skiing. A lot of skiing alpine.
Mm-hmm.
It was, all the parents in town, they wanted a new Ingmar Stenmark, so we got to go into alpine training very early. I also did a little bit cross country when I was younger.
What about during the summer times?
Summer times when I was a kid could be boring from time to time, but I mean we did the normal things, just building tree houses, playing soccer and go swimming, water skiing, wakeboarding as well, because Dad had a boat, so that was pretty neat. But when I was a kid it was definitely a little bit more boring sometimes in the summertime, because you didn't have as much toys as you do these days.
Exactly. So you mentioned your dad. Is your mom and dad, are they from around here, this area, or?
Yeah, more or less. Our mom is actually from Stockholm, but they have their whole real adult life they've been around here. And it started with Grandpa, who built a hut complex out in Duved, cabin rentals called Pollestuby. So he built that up, and then Mom and Dad came and sort of took that over, and then us.
They're still continuing that?
Yeah. For now.
Yeah. Do they do anything else here than rent the cabins?
Yeah. Mom works at the local supermarket in Åre. She is the local legend, really. Everyone knows my mom at ICA there. And Dad, he does a little bit of everything. He's been kind of an electrical engineer for Ericsson back in the day, and then he switched to snowmaking for a lot of years here, and plumbing, building houses, just everything, and as well as running the cabins and stuff.
Well, when you compare now your childhood here and today, what else do you do today differently than you did when you were a kid?
I guess it's just, you get older and you can afford more stuff. That's basically what it is. But I get biking came along. That wasn't a thing when I was growing up. You had the BMX bikes, but there was no ramps and no one really did anything. But now you have the cross country and the downhill, pretty good pump tracks and stuff. So there's definitely more summertime activities right now, and they run the lifts. And then you have kayaking and stuff like that. Stuff that you didn't really do as a kid. I mean, when I grew up, it was the pretty straightforward stuff. Soccer, swimming, hiking. So it feels like the kids these days, they have much more stuff to do.
Could you consider yourself living somewhere else except for here in Åre?
In Sweden, no. There's some places out there in the world I could consider living, but I always come back to it's better here.
Well, what makes it better here?
It's probably, you like where you're from, you like the routines and stuff, but I always manage to find something wrong with other places. What I do find is that there's some really cool mountains out there in different places, but then it's something else that it's not so great. I like the atmosphere here. All the people they feel like they're pretty driven and very outdoorsy. There's no other group of people that are up to no good or anything. It's just you can talk and do everything with everyone because everyone is kind of on the same page. They live here because we like to be in the outdoors and do a lot of stuff.
Why is it so that from Åre, from this area, there's so many good skiers coming out and has come out?
I don't know. Yeah, we've been talking about that. I think it is probably for a couple of reasons. One would be that you always need someone early that set the kind of the inspiration, set the pace, that gets famous or gets big early on, because then you inspired other people from that same area to do the same thing. If you look at the motocross, no one did backflips, and then finally someone did it, and then everyone did it. Same deal, but on a local level on what you need to do on skis. So that's one, and I think we ski in pretty tough conditions. It's ice, and it's pretty hard to ski here. So when you come from here to softer snow in the Alps, all of a sudden the skiing feels safe and easy.
Yeah, exactly. So the roughness, that's one part of the becoming a good skier, big mountain skier. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's when you usually fail on big mountain, when it starts to get a little tough and not perfect. And if you have that as your background, then you're golden. So
being a professional skier, big mountain skier, how many years have you doing Freeride World Tour?
I have done the Freeride World Tour since 2009. So what's that? 7 years? I'm bad at math. Since 2009. I did a tour. I did the qualifiers in 2008. I think it's been a while now.
What would be the highlights that you would pinpoint from your career on the competition side?
I think already my first year, I had my second competition. I had a win already. Maybe that's not a highlight. That was mostly good financially. I mean, the run was stupid. I almost died, so it was like not so proud of that. But at the same year, I had a second place in Verbier, my first year there, in horrible conditions. But I think that's one of my proudest moments, that I managed to do so well on a bad day there.
Yeah.
Even if I won it after that, but that second place was still kind of, for me, more worth.
Yeah,
more worth it.
Yeah, exactly. So how do you train? What do you do year round? Like during the season when you have that ongoing, and then off season?
I try to mostly do activities rather than straightforward training. I don't like the gym necessarily. But so biking the last few summers has been really good. You keep the stamina up, and
does it complement a lot of the skiing then?
Yeah, it feels like it does, and you use kind of the same muscles in a way, and also your mindset is kind of the same, especially on downhill. How you look ahead and reflexes working. Although I am terrible at biking compared to skiing, so it's a bit scarier there. So I do that, and I have a little home gym set up for mostly stay injury free. And I believe for skiing, the only real training, the only super efficient training you can do is that you have to ski a lot early season. Because I figured out that it doesn't matter if you do 1,000 squats a day, it doesn't help.
Yeah.
Not for skiing. Stamina helps, and to be strong in the core and stuff like that. But freeriding is not so much about strength, more agility and reflexes.
Yeah, exactly. So you just need to get the experience. The more you can ride, the better you will get, because then you can learn. You read the situations better. And
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a bit different there. I mean, some people, they go full on gym. Squat every day, and it works for them. It's a different style of different riders, but it feels like most are more on the more lightweight side and the ski more.
So you were talking about the core and then the legs. What part of the body really needs to be fit when you go descent?
Yeah, the most worrisome is your knees. That's where skiers miss their seasons. So you try to do, I mean, they're so small, the muscles around the knees, so you do, it's kind of rehab exercises actually, because you can't really put weights on the knees in that way. You take balance balls, you stand on them and let the knee be a little bit out of balance, and you work up those little muscles, same as you would if you had a knee injury.
Yeah.
That feels like the most important to me, because if the knee goes, so it's over.
Yeah.
Other than that, of course, you have your stomach and your back. It's gonna take a lot of load, so it's important to have a strong core to be able to stay upright when you need to. Stamina always helps. You're up there high altitude, so just basic spinning, running, anything like that is helpful, of course.
How many days of the year are you on skis?
150 maybe on skis. So it's quite a bit. It depends on the year. Bad snow years is obviously less.
But you ski here in Åre as much as you can, and then you go basically where the snow is.
Yeah, more or less.
Yeah.
I try to stay the beginning of the season here. I wish I was here more. But after we start our competition season, it's no point going back really, because we only have a few days, and Åre is unfortunately pretty far away from everything, so it's not easy to go home. But yeah, I spend December here, November, December, and then I go away.
And then you come back here?
April, somewhere, yeah.
Is there still good skiing here in April?
Best skiing, yeah. I try to get home as fast as possible, because Then actually the Alps is not very good. It's too hot there, and here we get that perfect slush the whole spring. So that's my favorite part of the season. Come back, meet your friends, and just go spring gang shred.
Sounds good. So next we're gonna talk with Reine about the gear that he's using when he goes to ski. So tell me about your skis, binding, boots, whatever you have always with you.
Oh, okay, the whole thing. Yeah.
The whole saga, yeah.
Well, I have Dynastar for skis, which I like because I like to go kind of fast skiing, pretty straightforward. So Dynastar builds really stable, kind of race-inspired skis. That's still good in powder, so like that. So I have the Dynastar Sham that I ride on competition. On that I have a super important piece of equipment. It's a P18 look P18 binding, best binding on the market. If you have something else, you're playing with your life.
What makes it so unique?
It's the thing is they made them in the 70s and it hasn't changed since. Because it turned out to be so good. They have the most flex on the market, so the binding can actually move with the ski more than any other binding, which makes the ski more lively. Otherwise you get a big flat hard surface under the boot that doesn't move. As well as they don't ever release it unless they need to. Which can happen with other bindings, that all of a sudden you get a weird edge somewhere and the ski is just bam, gone. And that can't happen on the big mountain. So I have those P18 set pretty high. So they've never released unless it really needed to. Boots, I'm on Lange, the RS 140, so it's a racing boot pretty much, and most people prefer the freeride boots. It's nothing wrong with them, but since I come from racing, I got used to have really stiff, tight boots, so I actually go on the racing boot.
What kind of benefit does it give you if you compare it to the freeride one?
Yeah, it depends on your riding style. For some it wouldn't be a benefit. But for me, I like to be a lot forward and have a lot of pressure in the front of my boot, and if they're too soft, you flex through it and it hurts your feet, and they feel like the skis can go a little bit where they want, while other people that have a more relaxed style need to have that softer boot to get their flowy style. So you get a little more Terminator feel on the stiff boot. It's like you can't move too much, but you have a lot of power when you do. So I go with that. What else? Clothes, of course. You need good clothing. Especially when you're hiking a lot, it's important to not get sweaty because you're gonna stand on that top for an hour. So wear Hella Hansen clothes with good function material, shell jackets, to make sure that I don't get sweaty. That you take layers off when you hike, and also merino base layers. Best thing ever.
Yeah, it's the wool.
Yeah, exactly. That wool that doesn't itch. So it's comfortable and it doesn't smell so much when it gets bad, and it keeps you really nice and dry. So that's a tip, get merino. So
so which are your sponsors at the moment on the gear side?
So I have Dynastar, and Dynastar Look and Lange is the same company. Hella Hansen on clothing. I have Gyro on helmet and goggles. Hestra for gloves. And then Åre, Sweden, my hometown, is sponsoring me, as well as Ica Åre, this local supermarket. Gotta have that. So there's a few. I have some good support. I'm really happy about.
So when we talk about this gear, how much can you affect, or how much you develop the gear with your sponsors to make them better? How much are you giving them feedback? Are they doing something to change in the gear, kind of, because you have so much experience and you can tell exactly how it feels? And does that transfer to the normal kind of piste skier?
Right. Yeah. That is the problem. We do have a lot of say in the clothing. We get. From most companies, it's not always, but a lot of times we get papers that we need to sign what's good in this, and they call you, hey, this new jacket, how is it for this and that? Because they're all samples, it's the first try, it's a beta test, so there's gonna be some small stuff that we realize, and they change it when we say that this needs to be fixed, this got too hard. The idea was good, but it doesn't work in real life. Stuff like that. Design, it's a thing that we get some input on, but of course, it turns out that freeriders and the people that normally ride the groomers have very different clothing preference.
I guess.
So that we just have to drop, and they know what sells and what does not. So that's the difference. But we try to give them what we have seen as trends. And it's very important with the technical gear and like boots, helmets and stuff to make sure they fit and work and feel secure. So really live test them, because in a studio, in a lab, you can't can't say. Yeah, so we do a lot of that, and it's fun to be a part of. And I hope to, maybe that's something to do after the active skiing career too, to really get involved in that stuff.
Yeah.
Since you have years of experience in the field, and also tried so many different ones, which helps. It's both fun and boring sometimes when you're sitting with the super technical stuff and try to figure out which is best. It's like, someone else needs to do this. I can say if it's good or not.
So the freeriding world tour and freeriding big mountain skiing, it's actually pretty dangerous sport if you don't know what you're doing. There's a lot of avalanche there, for example. How do you prepare yourself to the nature or to the power of nature?
You have to first and foremost respect it and realize that it is a danger. It's very real and it's extremely powerful. And then you have to learn as much as you can about it. Unfortunately, I see a lot of people, they buy avalanche equipment, which you have to have. You have to have a beacon to search for your friends. You have to have an avalanche probe and a shovel, preferably an ABS airbag backpack. But all that stuff is useless if you don't know how to use it.
Yeah.
And even more, hopefully you should never use it. So what's even more important is to learn where to be and not to be, and when to back out and skip a run. You can't really just explain what you do. Yeah, small basic stuff, absolutely, but it's experience. You have to be around people with a lot of experience to show you what to look for, how the snowpack reacts, and even better, take avalanche courses, learn how to dig profile pits. You dig a hole and you see the snow layers. If they're weak or not, you can start reading that. So give yourself as much information as possible to minimize the risk. But you can never get the risk down to zero. But that goes for all of life.
Yeah. So do you ever go, if there's a guy in a group that doesn't know anything about,
anything.
kind of, yeah, exactly. So what do you do in that point?
No, it's tough. We didn't do it when we were younger because we were younger and stupid. But nowadays we don't bring anyone who doesn't know how to do it.
Yeah.
And it's partly for their sake, because we take a little bit more risk because we believe we can maybe handle it better, and we trust the people we have around to be able to assist. But if we have someone who doesn't know anything, for one, we're gonna be responsible for another person that's maybe not aware what he's getting himself or herself into, as well as they can't really help if something happens.
Yeah.
So it's tough, but you just have to say no. Sorry, you stay in the groomer here until you have some training.
Exactly. So I want to talk about fear, because fear is something that, well, people feel fear sometimes when they drive a car, or if you go biking, or if you see a horror movie, or you can have different kind of fear. But how many times do you feel fear? Because looking at hey, you can go and check actually Reine's, you've got a YouTube channel, you've got Facebook page, you've got Instagram, so all those are here in the screen. You can go and check the content of Reine from his own channels, but looking at your content, it's so gnarly what you come down. Do you ever feel fear? And if you do, in what situations?
Well, I try to differentiate fear from being nervous. A certain amount of fear is needed. That means you know the consequences, you know what to respect, and that puts you on top of your game. Because if you don't feel anything, like, it's fine, then you're gonna screw up, for sure. So I try to handle that little fear or nervousness more. If you're too afraid it's not gonna work, you probably need to back out. I try to take that as something positive. That okay, now I'm on it, I know it. Your senses are on 100%, so you're gonna perform better. And I do get scared sometimes when I'm gonna do a line that I know that I can't screw up, I can't fall. I minimize that by looking at lines where I have the most margin of error as I can have. So if I fall on that cliff, it's fine because it's just snow down below or something. What you have to keep in mind is that we prepare these runs for days before. We don't just go out and do it. So we have pretty much thought of everything, on what could happen on a run, and then it usually works out great. When I get scared for real is when we come maybe skiing with a group of friends and we're maybe not prepared. We're skiing an area we don't know what it looks like. Maybe it's not avalanche changes, but it's cliffs everywhere and we don't know, can you fall there? Then I can get really scared because I don't know what it looks like and not sure what we're doing.
So what is the dialect then that you go inside your own head?
That we should go down and look at this before we ski it. But I mean that's the extreme cases in the Alps when you're out on crazy stuff. Most days it's fine. But yeah, the fear part is tricky, and I think to be successful in this sport, that's a thing you need to work on, the mental game to overcome that fear. Throw it to the side and just do your best. Throw it to the side. That sounded wrong, but
put it on the side, not to think about it as much.
Exactly. You take it in consideration and why you're scared and try to solve why you're scared, and then if it turns out that it's just you're scared of failing, which is actually really normal, say on a competition, that's a big fear for many people. That you have to sort of push away and just focus on what you need to do, and it usually works out good.
So during your race day, weather is good, cameras are ready, everybody's ready, and then your day starts in the morning. What kind of routines do you have throughout the day, and in what point of the day are you most nervous at? Is it the one when you're standing in the gate, or you're going up, or you're seeing other people ski down, or?
Yeah, you wake up and you're usually a little bit nervous already from the beginning, mostly if you're gonna be able to eat breakfast or not, because it's usually very early and you can be very nervous. Lately, the last few years, that has not been an issue for me, but I remember it was in the beginning. And then we come up on the mountain, do a last inspection, and everything feels pretty good. And you always have in the back of the head, maybe it gets cancelled, which has happened. So you don't have to make yourself nervous too early. And usually I get the most nervous when we start hiking up, because you know it's starting to get there. So you start the hike, and you don't want to get too tired on the hike, but you need to focus on your run, and then your mind starts playing with you. And sometimes the hike can be pretty scary too, because we're above cliffs and have ropes and stuff. And then after that, I think the worst part is when you have maybe 2-3 riders before you in the start gate, and it's almost your turn. That's the worst part.
Do you look at the other guys riding down if you have the chance?
Yeah, if you have the chance, you absolutely do. And sometimes that just gives you like, oh, it looks awesome. This is going to be so much fun. Or maybe you see someone do a cliff you were not so sure about, then it's awesome. Or you see them go super fast. You can hear the skis. It's terrible conditions, and you see people fall, and you're like, oh, I don't know, which happens as well. But then when you leave the start gate, it's gone.
Then
it's nothing. Then you just ski, and you just hope like, come on, do well.
Yeah. Do you think about on the run down, because it's pretty short?
It's pretty short. I mean, it's a minute and a half maximum.
Do you remember what you were thinking on the way down?
Sometimes I do, and usually when I remembered thinking stuff on the way down, I didn't do a good run.
Okay, yeah.
So I guess when you do a good run, you...
the focus is there.
Yeah, the focus is there, but you're not recording.
Yeah.
you don't have resources enough for that. Because I had memory losses on a lot of my good runs.
Yeah.
And then I watched the GoPro and it's like, I guess I did that. And it comes back to you slowly, but... I remember a few runs I've been thinking like, oh, I wonder, is it so steep here? Yep, it's really steep here. And I shouldn't have thought that, because I like immediately felt like I got a little bit more scared. Before I was just jumping around there and doing my turns like, oh, it's steep. It's steep. So it's weird. It's good not to think too much once you do it.
How difficult is it, because the schedule or the starting of the competition, it depends so much of the weather, of course. So if the competition is being postponed for, when it's actually the longest time that you have to be waiting somewhere on a location?
Yeah, that can be quite some time. One year in Verbier we had hiked halfway up maybe, and we knew there was cloud all over, but we saw that the mountain was just covered in cloud. You couldn't see any movement. We stopped right at the base of the cloud, and we were sitting there for maybe 2 hours and thinking this at first like, just be prepared, it's gonna happen, and then after a while it's like, it's not gonna happen. But all of a sudden it all cleared, and it was just run up and do it. But everyone else had stopped, so we had time. But that is a tough mental part, because when you start to think that it might not happen, you start to relax, your focus start to go down.
And to get the kind of
and then you have to build it up again.
Yeah, exactly.
So best thing to do is just assume that it's gonna happen. Assume it's gonna happen. It doesn't matter how long you wait. And I think on the world tour we are not. I think 2 hours. Then you start to reach the limit on how long we wait because we're a big start field, and it's always weather coming in or bad light or something. So we don't have that much time. Also, there's a live feed that they can't have rolling forever.
Exactly.
So that's tough. On other competitions, say in the Scandinavian Big Mountain Championship in Riksgränsen, a competition I recommend everyone to go to. It's a lot of fun. You can wait for 7 hours, and then at 4 in the afternoon it's like, all right, we're going out. So what? I went to the bar already. Come on. But at least you wait at the hotel because you can't see the mountain.
After ski is on already.
Yeah, exactly.
So during the season, like in the competitions, who do you hang out the most? What is kind of the group? Do you have special people that you always want to be involved with because you kind of get the good energy from them and you can share the feelings and experience that you have?
Yeah, absolutely. I have some people I spend more time with than others, and it's usually riders that has been in it for as long as I have.
Yeah.
So I know them well and we think pretty much alike. And but I mean, from year to year, you make new friends too. People you have known for a long time but didn't hang out with, you realize, oh, it's actually pretty nice.
Yeah.
Everyone is super cool though that we ski with. But of course, I travel around with my girlfriend Jackie, so it's a lot her and me spending time. But we have some really close friends down in the Alps we spend a lot of time with. I wish there was more traveling together with other people too, but everyone is on their own schedule, so it's tough to
exactly to match them.
To match everything.
Yeah.
But as much as can, everyone is trying to, okay, let's go there early and we ski every day together. You try to get that arranged, but it's hard.
So what are you looking for of this upcoming season? It's gonna start soon, the tour. Yeah. What do you think about the locations? What do you think your own targets? Do you ever set any?
Yeah, the locations are fun. We're gonna start in Andorran pretty soon, and it's a fun place to be. It's a really cool country, and what I hope there is that we get some good snow. We had okay last year, but I know it can be a lot better. So really hope to hit some good snow there. And then we're going back to Alaska a little bit earlier, later in the season. And I feel like I have some redemption to do there, some payback. It didn't go awful when I was there, but it wasn't what I was dreaming about doing in Alaska. I had said to myself, I'm gonna do a run that it's just fun, find where it's good snow and just charge down it. Instead, last minute I changed to the shittiest snow and this horrible line, just thinking about competition. I need to do this drop and this drop and maybe I win. When it turns out that the lines that did do well pick the nice, super nice big lines. So yeah, should have stuck to the original plan. I'm gonna do that this year. Forget about the competition. Now you're gonna make this look good and feel good. Yeah. Because it's so big terrain anyway, so we can do whatever. Exactly. I'm looking forward to that, and as always, I look forward to Verbier at the end of the season in the final. Hopefully, my goal is to try to get a further win there. It would be nice to have 3 wins in Verbier, because the rumor says you get a lifetime wild card if you do. So I need that. Which is you like Verbier? That's like the. Yeah. It's the most challenging mountain, so it's always nice to do well there, and it's cool to be in Verbier. There's a lot of people in the audience and stuff like that. It's a pretty big show. It's our kids down the race, so it's fun. Well, I think at this point we're gonna thank you for letting us to come into your beautiful home and do the interview here. And Saga has been enjoying this a lot. Best of luck for the season, and we'll see how it goes. Just hopefully you enjoy it. Thank you very much. Yeah, I always do. And same with you guys. Yeah. See you later.